So my next question would be, who is this book specifically for? Now, in general, yes, any and everybody can use this book. It could be beneficial if you're in that type of mindset, but everybody is not in that mindset. There are different things that trigger different people. Price could be one of them. Talking about death could be another one. Like using certain words actually triggers people to feel a certain way. So you have to be with the right mindset. So the people that I primarily this is specifically for would be parents that have a spouse and you guys are trying to get your affairs together, or you have a spouse that is terminally ill. So maybe the first one is like you guys together are trying to be proactive. And then the second one is a parent that has a spouse that's terminally ill. It's not a matter of if you get sick. It is a matter of being sick and knowing that there is a termination time that's coming. And you're trying to make sure that you have covered all your bases as much as possible. The second one would be for parents that have a mom or dad that is facing a health crisis. They're living on a fixed income and they're showing certain signs of needing help from their kids, and hoarding is definitely one of those signs. And that just, again, it's a case-by-case scenario, but if you've got a mom or dad that's getting older and they're having a hard time addressing if they've gotten their affairs together, meaning life insurance, what kind of insurance, where is it at, like those can be really tough conversations for certain people. And what I do is help families organize those conversations so that you know how to address it in a way that makes sense to the person you're talking to, so they don't feel like they're being attacked, bombarded, or being put out to the pasture. I've heard people say that before. So that's question number 2. So question number 3 is, why is this book so important? Well, there are three different types of people that I come in contact with. There are the people that are procrastinators. They know it's important, but it's not that important to them right now. So they think they can live forever and that they've got time to figure it out. And hey, there's no judgment because we've all been there. I remember being in my late 30s and thinking life insurance is not a big deal. What changed for me, however, is when I lost a loved one that was so close to me that it shifted everything about my life completely. So there's that mindset. You know, you've got the person that thinks they have time. The second person would be somebody that's between the ages of like 40, or I'm going to actually say 35 and 50. And they're starting to lose people that they love. And sometimes it's people that you know from high school or in the neighborhood. They're kind of distant. They're not super close to you. And it gets you in the mindset of thinking, oh, that's pretty crazy. I should probably start figuring out what I'm going to do in case something happened to me. A lot of times these people may have one kid, or they have no kids, or they don't have a ton of responsibility. So it feels like, well, if I passed away, I don't really have that much to give away to people, so it's not a big deal, which is not true. So if you want more answers about how I address those kind of concerns, I have a page that's called 4 Misconceptions About Life Insurance. So question number 3, I think this is, or I'm sorry, it's not a question. The third type of person would be, it's the person that has no idea what to expect. Okay. And these are the people. So usually when I get somebody that asks me, hey, like, why should I purchase this book? It's $100. The first question that I actually ask is, have you ever planned a funeral? And some people freak out about that. But in my line of work, you have to be direct to help people understand how important this is. To sugarcoat something is a disservice to a lot of people. And again, if they can't stand that conversation, they're just not your customer right now. But I promise, because you're asking these questions, they will think about what you're saying. Anyway, so you have the person that has no idea what to expect, and they're been thrown into a situation that they were not prepared for. So example, you've got somebody that's the same age group, maybe 35, 40 years old to the age of 50, 55 years old. And they are starting to notice that people are passing away. So maybe a friend's parent has passed away, somebody that's their own age has passed away, and it was completely unexpected. They talked to that person, I don't know, maybe a week ago, and 2 weeks and a week later, they've passed away due to a car accident or something like that. Or, and these are more often than not, They had somebody that they love so much, whether it be a mom, dad, best friend, that affected their life. It shifted who they were as a person, and to lose that person is completely traumatic in the way of like, you cannot believe that they're not here. You weren't prepared for it. You were not prepared for any of the things that come with it. And now that you're sitting there either preparing for it or going to this funeral of somebody that you just love, like you realize that you're no longer going to be able to pick up the phone and call them. They're gone. They come to that revelation and they start to decide, I'm going to get my stuff together because what I'm feeling now, I don't want to pass on to somebody else that I love, whether that be kids, a parent, a best friend. Like they start thinking in terms of like, what if that was me? So that's why this book is important, because a lot of people, they may see it, they choose to ignore it until it's right in their face. And then they're like, oh my gosh, what is happening? And that's why this book is important, because it's an education. It's an education of what questions to ask yourself, ask your loved ones, and ask your parents, so that you guys can collaborate, get all your stuff together as much as possible, and figure out who's going to make major medical decisions, who's going to have the papers organized, who's going to be the person that's the leader of the group. Like all these things are very important. The beneficiary, they need to know their responsibility. That's why this book is vitally important for friends, for family, and especially for your parents. Okay, because this video was getting a little bit long, I'm going to do a part 2 on frequently asked questions. But the last question that I will address is, what should I do if I know somebody that I love is getting ready to pass away? And the first thing that you want to do is definitely make sure that they've got their papers organized in terms of like their life insurance. If they don't have life insurance, how they plan on paying for this, where you want to have the funeral, what kind of things you're going to do to honor their wishes. But the very first thing you want to do is just ask them how they're feeling, how they're doing. You want to make sure this is the right environment, this is the right tone. You don't want to just come in with like, well, what are we going to do? How am I going to do this? Because a person that knows they're getting ready to pass, they're already balancing their own thoughts. So what you want to do is, one, be there for them, check in on them to see how they're doing, what you can do to help. And then gradually, based off of where they are, you make sure you're in the right environment, you're using the right tone when you're talking to them, and you start addressing things that are going to be major concerns. Like if you are married to this person, hey, what do you want me to do with the house? How do you want me to handle these finances? Like you have life insurance. What are you wanting me to do with this life insurance? Who's the beneficiary if it's not myself? Who else do you want me to help? Like these are all very important questions. It has to be in a certain setting. Like you can't just be out randomly asking this. And you really want to wait, not really wait, but you want to try to your best to make sure they're in the position to actually want to talk about it. You don't want it to be a forced conversation. So these are just a few questions that I've been asked quite frequently. And so I'm going to do a part 2, frequently asked questions. It's going to be more around questions that I've gotten about life insurance and what to do if you are grieving, or what to do after somebody passes away, how to address that, things of that nature. So thank you for spending time with me in this video. My name's Lucretia. Please like, subscribe, and share, and I will see you guys in my next video.